Hey everybody, it's Adam, live and in person for you. Hey everybody, it's Adam, wonder who he'll interview. He'll get the dirt and the scoop and the story, for he happens to be in the know. Just ask anybody who's Adam. Adam lives for the business of show. Call me Adam.com.
Hey guys, it's Call Me Adam, and we have a very special episode for you tonight. If you have a dream, this is the episode for you, because we are going to be interpreting the dreams of two Broadway performers, as well as composer-lyricist Bobby Cronin. And to interpret everyone's dream tonight, we have with us Jefferson Harman, who has been interpreting dreams for the past 25 years. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back for our dream interpretation special. We have composer-lyricist Bobby Cronin, award-winning composer-lyricist Bobby Cronin. So, Bobby, what is your dream that you want Jefferson to interpret?
Used to have, and I had it all the time, this dream where, you know how in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, when they drink the fizz, that they float up? I'm sorry, my dogs are always well behaved, except for right now, of course. I used to be able to dream, and I would want to dream this, that I could fly. But I would bounce, and then I would float up, and I could see the world, but then I would go too high, and I couldn't figure out how to get down, and I would be scared to then come down. And I would have this dream all the time.
How old were you when you started having this dream?
A teenager.
Had you seen the movie Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
Yes, but I never related the two until this moment.
Interesting.
Because I was trying to figure out how to explain, because it's not like I was flying like Superman. Like I would literally bounce, and then I could just like float myself up, almost like you know those slingshot things at an arcade, not an arcade, what do they call, Carnival or like Six Flags.
An amusement park?
Yeah, that like shoot you, but then it bounces and then you go back up.
Okay, so when you bounced, were you bouncing on your butt or on your feet or?
On my feet.
So
and I was always scared that I would hurt myself when I would come down.
Okay.
But then I would jump back up, and I always, by the way, it was always in the area that I grew up in, always. And I moved from there when I was 14. But even after that, I dreamt, the dream would always be in those trees. I just remember those trees.
This is in Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
Where, what town?
Arlington.
Oh, Arlington, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so how old were you? You said teenager, but how old? Like 13, 17?
Yeah. I'm going to go with, God, because I still, like, I can tell you that I had this dream again maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and I laughed. Like, I woke up and I laughed.
Okay, in the dream, how do you start out?
It's always night.
Okay. What are you doing? Are you walking, or are you already up in the air?
You know, honestly, I'm trying to open a door in my brain. I think I have to run. I think I have to escape. I think it's...
So you're running from something to begin
so.
with. Okay. Running?
Mm-hmm.
Is that when you bounce up?
Yes.
Okay. So in other words, it's like you're getting a running start, hitting your feet on the ground, and then you're bouncing up in the air.
Yes.
Okay. As you're coming up, you keep going up, but...
And I love it.
Are you floating at any point? Are you hovering?
No.
It's always just up,
It's
up,
a
up.
rise, and
Okay.
that's where it keeps going, that I get scared. And then as soon as it starts to go down, I get even more scared.
What
I'm gonna
causes
get
it to
hurt.
go down? Is it just momentum?
Yes.
Okay.
Like how high can I bounce?
How does that feel at the moment where it shifts?
Horrible.
Okay. How does it feel up until that moment?
Mostly euphoric. Mostly.
Is there a gradation in between the euphoric and the horrible, or is it just a switch as soon as you realize, oh wait, I'm falling?
There's
now?
a gradation.
Okay. What's that like?
Knowing that the inevitable is coming.
Okay. So you're kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, if you will. Literally.
This is so interesting. Even as I'm saying it, I'm like, oh, this makes perfect sense. Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So And have you had the dream where you actually do hit the ground again?
Yes.
And what happens?
I go back up.
So in other words, all of the worry about how horrible it's going to be when you hit the ground
Yeah.
is met with the answer of you bounce again.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any idea what it was at the beginning of any time you've ever had this dream, what it was you were running from?
No.
Okay. Again, going back to...
I used to have a lot of chasing dreams.
Yeah.
And I used to have a lot of I'm screaming but nothing's coming out. I used to have a lot of those as a kid. They went away.
Yeah. Actually, I interpreted a dream for you a long time ago about heights.
Mhm.
Do you remember that?
Mhm.
Yeah. And one of the things about that was about the big family that you grew up in,
Right.
feeling that you weren't being heard. But I have another question. Were you bullied at all?
Are you kidding? Of course I was.
Okay. That's part of this.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So there was something that you were running from.
Yeah.
Okay. Which, is stress in general.
Sure.
But in specific, what I would do if I were able to go back in time and sit with you every time you had this dream, we'd find specifically what it was that happened in your life that made you feel that you wanted to run away.
Mm.
And then your way of getting away is to literally escape. You move up. In other words, they can chase me this way horizontally, but they can't chase me vertically. So you found a way in your dream state to get away from the thing.
That's so my personality.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so weird.
Exactly.
Okay.
If it's not working, on land, let's just go up.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you well enough to know your personality. That's you. That's you. You figure out a way to be optimistic about something that everybody else is pessimistic about. You find a way to make something work when it's not working.
Right.
So in this case, your solution was, hey, I'm in a dream. I'm just going to defy the laws of gravity. And
Is that why I wanted to have the dream?
yes. Yes,
'Cause, like, I could-
the fact that it's recurring can come from a couple things. Either the universe is tapping you on the shoulder and saying, hey, I have a message for you and you're not getting it, so I'm going to keep giving you this dream until you get it. Or in this case, what's happening is you're having the dream because it serves you. If I dream this, I know I can escape this situation that's bothering me. And so you actually would program yourself to have the dream to make yourself feel better.
Right.
The thing is, though, you'd get to this point up here where it was like, wait, I don't know how this is going to work out now. That is really subconsciously you trying to figure out, how do I go back to my real life? I can't just escape and that's it. Somewhere in this, I have to come back down to earth.
Wow.
Yeah, metaphorically and literally.
Wow.
Okay, so what you're doing is you're telling yourself that I still have to deal with this problem, and when I get down, it's still going to hurt. So you've changed that to this metaphor of when I hit the ground, it's going to hurt.
Uh-huh.
I feel like we're all laughing because we know you.
I know.
Does it sound like that's accurate to him? Is that
Especially if it was a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
what was going on? Do you want to talk about that?
Not
What was going on?
really.
Okay, all right.
If that's all right.
Yeah, we can do
No,
that.
just a lot of life changes.
Yeah, well, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
In other words, you learned when you were a teenager to manage your stress by escape,
Yes.
which is true of music.
Yes.
Which is true of, just
Sports as
Sports,
well.
exactly. That you
I put on a helmet, I was a different person.
Exactly. In other words, you just put on a different face to deal with a different situation each time. So if something stressed you out, you found a way to manage it. This dream is no different than that. In this case, what you did was you literally took yourself out of the situation, but then felt bad when you realized at some point I have to go back to this situation.
Weird.
And so you'd have this feeling of dread, but then when you got back down, because you're still in the dream, you just went back up again. In other words, your optimism is what saved you.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
And so you had the dream repetitively, not because you weren't getting something, but because you were getting something. The opposite. You were actually getting a benefit from the dream, which was that it was taking you away from what was stressing you out, and then showing you that even if you did have to go back to it, that you'd be okay. You would figure out a way to rise above it.
Do you think maybe subconsciously that's why you wrote Reach the Sky?
Oh.
Because you were always jumping to the sky, and that song is so positive and optimistic about looking forward to what's coming.
Tattooed on my wrist, by the way.
Yes.
Reach the sky. That is a very excellent observation, Adam.
What's really interesting about that is that that's one of the first things that I let people hear of mine.
It's also interesting that it's on your right wrist, because that is your dominant side. That's where you create from. That's this is the intuitive side of the body. This is the creative side of the body, the active principle. This is yin. This is yang. So this is how you reach out to the world. This is how you move forward through the world. This is how you create and show your inner self to the world, is by reaching for the sky. Yeah, so that dream makes perfect sense for you.
Yes, it does. I feel like I've just been read, which I have been.
In a good way.
Yeah, in a good way.
In a good way, yeah.
Yeah, weird. I always thought that it was about fear of heights. But
Well, you simultaneously had a fear of heights.
Yes.
That's why you felt the dread as you were coming down. But the fear of heights was different. And frankly, that's I have that show. I'll put that on my podcast so that people can listen to that, and because that was a very interesting interpretation.
It was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun, that show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bobby called into the radio show, and I interpreted a dream, another recurring dream that he had about his fear of heights. I'll leave that for the podcast.
Yeah. That was really cool.
Well, thank you.
Quite something. Learned a lot about everybody, and I'm amazed that you had no knowledge of the dreams previously, and you're just able to really.
I just met Michael just before I came in tonight. Yeah.
And you're so intuitive with everybody. It's incredible. It just adds to your credibility of doing this for 25 years.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Jefferson, thank you for interpreting all of our dreams.
Absolutely.
And thank you for not making any of us cry. Appreciate that. And don't forget, you can check out Jefferson's website, everydaysymbology.com. And in addition to Jefferson's radio show, he also does private readings. So go to his website and hire him for a private reading and have your own dream interpreted if you don't want to do it on the radio for everyone else to hear. Thanks for watching. For more Call Me Adam, visit callmeadam.com or follow me on Twitter at callmeadamnyc or facebook.com/callmeadamnyc.